Well, welcome everyone who's logging in just now. I'm Scott Yokel. I'm the University Research Computing Officer here at Harvard. Some of you may have known me in my former role being the Director of FAS Research Computing for about 6 years. Also with me today presenting will be Nelson, who's our Senior Cloud Facilitator as part of this project. Today's agenda, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just giving you a quick background, introduce what is the New England Research Cloud to you. Nelson will take over some onboarding demo, so you can go through that process and see how it is. We're recording this so that you can also do it on your own time with your own leisure in case we go things too quickly. And we also provide you some examples of research or use cases that people have already been using the environment for a few months. And Nelson will give you direct demos on how, if you want to launch an OpenStack and run your own VMs, or how to launch OpenShift. And the version. Okay, we'll fix the form in a second. And so first, let's take a step back. You might ask, what is NERC? You saw from the email that this is from University Research Computing, things like that. That might seem a little different to you. Maybe you haven't heard about it. So that's what we're first going to do. So University Research Computing Services, what actually happened over the course of, I think, 6 years when I was director at FAS Research Computing is more and more different services were being added as a portfolio of things that were either across Harvard or across the Massachusetts Green High Performance Computing Center Consortium. And those things were offering to the regional of MIT, Harvard, BU, Northeastern, UMass. And so with that, it started to make more and more sense that these services shouldn't be offered out of the sciences and they should be offered centrally. And so we created a new unit, University Research Computing Data Services, to do that and focus on that. And that started last year, and we now have 24 staff. 13 of those are new this last year, and we're housed within Harvard University IT. I report to Clara, who's our CIO, and we have a website. You can check out all the various different services. And the next slide, I'll just talk you through what a few of those are. So we formally have a research software and engineering team. So people who can come and help do development directly on grants with your faculty and your labs, and expand out your kind of prototypes into whether it's data related pipelines or high performance computing or web front end, all sorts of different types of capabilities. The other thing that we launched that's going into production kind of as we speak is a regulated data service. So these are when you have data sets that involve things like Center for Medicaid Services or other types of health data, like CHIA is the Massachusetts health data. Those require certain types of compliance that are very challenging and cumbersome to deploy and manage. We were doing a lot of those per project, and now we're doing those as a university-wide service. And in the future, we'll be looking to add cyber maturity model, CMMC, which is mostly needed for Department of Defense and some Department of Energy types of things. Two other things that were grant funded were the Northeast Storage Exchange and NERC, which is more about today. But the Northeast Storage Exchange is actually the underpinning storage that NERC sits on top of. If you use FASRC services and you use the tape service, that's actually Northeast Storage Exchange on the back end. So we provide these services across the whole of the MGHBCC consortium. And then Arts and Humanities is actually our all Hewitt staff that are funded from FAS, but they sit within our department and have a focus on different types of computing modalities and supporting researchers in the humanities. All right, so now we'll transition away from the department. Just to give you background, so NERC is inside of my department, but NERC is also a collaboration. So it actually goes back a number of years to the Massachusetts Open Cloud, which is from Boston University. They wanted to create a production cloud. This is back in 2013, that had the ability to have open source infrastructure, open source projects in it, and not be a closed thing that's commercial and owned by a company. As the internet was started in this region, right between Harvard, BU, and MIT, we want things like the cloud to also remain open and not be closed off. So that's the original vision, and it was led by a couple of faculty at BU and Northeastern, and it was run by students and postdocs. So it actually grew out of that, the need for actually a real production system that our kind of research IT groups would operate and manage. And so myself and my counterpart at Boston University Research Computing, Wayne Gilmar, went after a grant through Mass Tech Collaborative and we're able to get that and got matching from our institutions, and it launched the New England Research Cloud. So that has now grown, and one of the things that's cool is that it's not just a production cloud. We also engage with computer science systems researchers in the region. And so there's a whole collection of people. So that's what this next figure is to show you, that so we have these kind of cloud-related services that are production on the left, like New England Research Cloud, Northeast Storage Exchange, that Harvard operates and is a part of. The data center itself is a part of Open Storage Network, which is a part of an NSF-funded multiple site regional storage pool. Boston Children's Hospital also has deployed production stuff in this environment. That's a part of BioGrids. And then on the other side, on the far right, these like OpenCloud Testbed and iScale, those are NSF-funded computer science development test beds. And so what's great is that they have partnerships with industry and with us. So things that are being developed get rolled into production. So that's kind of the exciting ecosystem that we have. And then out of that, we created what was the MOC Alliance, which is an organizational body to like help us all work together. So I'm part of the leadership of MOC Alliance. So I think the important thing to point out is that this is not an operation that's just two people like Milson and Justin who are at Harvard. It's an operation that's actually run by a lot of people. So Milson and Justin at Harvard are who operate that aspect of it. MOC Alliance, number of people. Red Hat Research, which is here locally in the region, we engage with them all the time as well. So we have a whole development wing and we have a whole operational wing. So that's why I just kind of point out that it's not just two people. So what is NERC? So NERC is simply, it allows you to come to, it has a couple different aspects. So this is kind of a conceptual diagram. So at the bottom, we keep talking about MGHPCC. That's all our shared infrastructure. That is the racks, the networking. On top of that, the Northeast Storage Exchange. Alon in my group manages, and Robin helps out with the tape side of it. And then on top of that, we have a whole platform that is the Red Hat OpenStack for your virtual instances, OpenShift for your container orchestration. So thinking like a Kubernetes platform, and web apps. So there's also a desire to have just simple come to a web app and launch your stuff. And so there's a data science platform. There can be web apps that have been created. You'll see some of those in the examples that faculty have created for their community. And so it gives you a full suite of services that you would have like in a commercial cloud, but we try to make it a little bit easier. And a couple of ways that we do that are the federated front end, which you'll hear about today. So you can just Harvard key auth right into going into these services. We have cloud facilitators like Milson that can actually help you. And then we just take from that, we take your feedback on the things that you guys want to see in the environment. So we can take researcher feedback directly and do what we want to do with it. So, so I kind of restated that here in bullets, is that we want self-service to be easy for you. We want software as a service options. We'll also work with other vendors and other things that like we might have MATLAB, we may have other things like that deployed as a web service instead of having you have to launch an instance and stuff, things like that. That's the other aspect of what we're trying to do. So all of this that we're doing is also an open source project in the sense that our standards of deployment of how we do this, we're engaging with a community of other providers that provide the service in order to build out a full ecosystem. Not that we have, but that we can replicate and federate across clouds at other regional institutions. So that's kind of our next phase. And why do we do this, and why did the state fund us to do this, is that there's really a skills gap. When we think of other type of computing modality outside of high performance computing on campus, like cloud serves a huge swath of research disciplines that are not as focused on numerical simulation, that have a lot of other different types of needs. And so we really want to do this both on the research side, but we're also doing this a lot on the academic course side. So Boston University and UMass and Northeastern are also using this platform in their courses currently.
We can talk about some of the NERC core services we offer. So the first thing is we offer virtual machines based on Red Hat OpenStack. So user can get a dedicated self-managed general compute based on CPU, or they can get more intensive and accelerated GPU-based virtual machines. And also we offer container orchestration platform based on Red Hat OpenShift. So if you have container or microservice workload that need to be deployed, tested, or scaled, then you can use this platform. So underneath, you're going to get all the benefits of Kubernetes, And we also offer Red Hat OpenShift Data Science roles as a software as a service platform. So if you have any AI, ML kind of workload that need to be hosted, then you can use this platform. And we also offer software as a service based on NERC's storage services. So if you need some storage to have a persistent storage for short-term or long-term, then we provide those storage in terms of volume or block storage, as well as we offer S3 compatible API-driven object storage. So we'll see about all of these services in demo later on. So right now we have 11 different institutions using NERC, and also we have 340 total users using NERC. And also we have 77 different PIs and 100 different unique projects and growing. So before jumping into the onboarding process, we need to understand all the components of NERC. So there are different supporting services that are part of NERC ecosystem. So the first one is access and resource management supporting services. So we use MGSPCC shared service account portal, also known as RESAP, and backend is using Keycloak. So we support federated in-common login from different institutions within MGSPCC and also external institutions. And for the management, we use Coalfront. So PI can request and manage allocation for their resource, and also they can manage a user under their projects. And everything is web-based, so they can self-manage all those components. And PI can also delegate another user or users as a project manager in their group, so that all the administrative tasks can be done by the project manager on behalf of the PI. And PI or manager can also change allocation over time on their project based on their scalability or demand based on different attributes. And for user support and service monitoring, we have different documentation pages that guides users for troubleshooting as well as understanding the concept. And also we have cloud facilitators like me who can onboard those users, help them with any technical support they need on that process. And we are using MGSPCC ticketing system for helping supporting all those help requests. And also we are using in a status page for service monitoring and alerting. And we keep all the users well informed about any latest updates or any happening on NERC and any upcoming maintenance and upgrades. For reporting and accounting, we use XDMode. So XDMode provides a detailed view of resource utilization as well as performance reporting based on institutions, resource domain, PI, and projects.